experience. It's called digital footprint. Leave it. You leave your digital footprint. Talk about your volunteer experience on your social media. You have your Facebook. Let people know that this is what you're doing. You have your Facebook. You have Twitter. Whatever. You know the one that I do. So just tell your story. When you have opportunity to engage in your radio, each time you have the opportunity, as you are talking about other things, look for a way to chip in your volunteer experience. Last year was 2022. In 2021, after the heat of COVID, the pandemic in 2020, 2021 things were looking good. But we're seeing hearing people dying in hundreds in other parts of the world, but things were not as bad here. All of a sudden, the fear of the third wave was coming. So we reached out to experts to analyze this issue. And I was invited by AIT. I was on a weekend show having a conversation around it. And as we analyzed the thing, I used the same opportunity to talk about the volunteer project we did during the pandemic. In that case, I was not talking about it because of myself, no, but because of the volunteers who are involved in it. So I'm not talking about the pandemic volunteers. Pandemic volunteers. Yes. I'm a convener of the pandemic volunteers. When the pandemic was ravaging the whole world, I sat in my house, I was watching CNN, BBC, all those things that people were dying like several times. I told myself, these are countries with the most advanced technology in healthcare. So what if it comes to us like this? That means after walking along the street, we're matching people now. Yes. I said, well, so what can we do? So I spoke to, so let's clap for Kingsley. Spoke to Kingsley, spoke to quite a number of other people. Was Greg there too? Can't remember if Greg was there. No. So what we did was to identify the challenges that will come up from the pandemic. One, first of all, is threat to life, which is if people don't know how to act, they might die. So you need to know what to avoid and what not to avoid. Then number two is because of lockdown, people will be hungry. But we don't have money to start buying food for people. So what do we do? First, the first thing we did was to partner with people. And that's where Martin Ubono came in. The same time we're planning on this, he reached out to me as well. This is what he wants to do. And we're communicating. I told him, look at what we're planning. Oh, so let's work together. You see the essence of collaboration. So people were already donating foodstuff to him. And we've not gotten people donating to us. I told him, man, let's do this. I have volunteers already. We've raised over 1,000 volunteers already across the country. But yeah, we deployed our FCT volunteers to him. We did a twin cup and I we've raised several people were there who were in the midst of the pandemic when there was restriction in movement. They gave us approval to move because of the things we're doing. I was able to reach out to people providing food. He mentioned that even the truck to move all those things. I was the one. I didn't have the truck. My vehicles are not truck. But we need to do this thing. I put a call across to someone. Who put a call across to someone?
No someone.
Who knows someone? And what happened? A new truck came. And we're doing movements. From that, people saw what we're doing. Decided it's other states as well. We have volunteers who were coordinating, We went to, as a matter of fact, at Mandela Barracks, the first hand wash that was at the gates when you enter was done by pandemic volunteers. So we reached out to all kinds of people. So I needed to tell that story on that program. Not because of me, but because of the people who volunteered with me. So our next person, the next class will begin shortly in 5 minutes. So I would run up here and continue. Almost, I think I still have a few slides, but we'll continue. Thank you so much. We're planning this program, and we're reviewing your applications. there were a number of people who were interested in the climate action, environmental action. So this informed the kind of facilitators we want to bring. But the challenge is that not all of these people who do the real work are always available. And at that time, I was following up with him. Today I will see him in the UN in New York. Tomorrow he will be in Geneva. Next tomorrow he was traveling around. As we got closer to the program, I said, let me just put a call to know if it is back. I put the call across, the phone rang, and not the funny ringtone. Because when you're abroad, there's a funny ringtone you can ring. It was a normal ringing. The first thing I had to say, are you back? I said, yes, thank God. The notice was so short. Many people will feel offended that you have a program, why are you telling me that? But I couldn't tell him because I could see that he was not around. And he was not offended. He created time for us and he's here today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's clap for him. So he's somebody that has, I shared with you my experience as a young Catholic youth. He's somebody who was way ahead of me in that process. So you see how volunteering begins from local places, the church, the mosque, those immediate communities. He's somebody who has paid his dues in that environment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Michael David.
Okay, good morning.
Morning, sir.
I was scared when I first entered. And when he was talking about the VIP, I was looking around to see the VIP. Very pleased to meet you all. And this morning, I hope I will not bore you. Volunteering is a journey that all of us started. And I will say that I started volunteering from primary school. How many of you volunteered from primary school? Yeah. And by the time I was in secondary school, the volunteering continued, the Boy Scout thing that you do. You saw volunteering, right?
Yeah.
And then I got the opportunity to have a very big event that I organized in Abuja here. Do we have any Catholics in the house? Oh, okay. How many of you know the young Catholic students?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was the Archdiocesan President of the young Catholic students far back in the 90s. So we held. So one of the biggest tasks I ever did as a volunteer growing up was to hold a youth convention that had 500 youths hosted in a secondary school for 3 days. And we were all youths who organized this event. So we had to feed ourselves, we had to provide security for ourselves, we also have to prevent those other youths who are overzealous to be going to the girls' hostel, that kind of thing. And all of those experiences. And that's where the journey actually started. So it's not too late. But today, I would like us to look at climate change and environment. That's my constituency. And I believe at the end of today, those who don't even care about climate change would begin to think about climate action because it affects all of us as well. And not just the problem of climate change, but also the many opportunities. Anywhere you have a problem, there are opportunities, right?
Yes, sir.
So the many opportunities that we have. So I'll be moving very, very fast. So we're looking at climate change and environment, the opportunities. I would always like to start with this slide, and I want everyone to read this. Let's read it together. After the count of 3, 1, 2, go.
The illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Okay, can you read it in your mind quietly? Read it again quietly in your mind. Don't read it out loud. There are 3 key words here. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. So during the course of this program, not just this course, not just this presentation today, I believe that you will learn, right?
Yes, sir.
And you will unlearn some things,
Yes, sir.
and then you will also relearn. So what is climate change? What is climate change? I would like to explain climate change to you in a very practical way, so that it's not textbook definition, so that others who are not science-based can understand. So who knows what this is? Sorry?
The moon.
The globe.
The moon.
The earth.
Good. Okay, the moon, let me see your hand.
The moon.
The moon, okay. The globe, let me see your hand. Sorry. Okay. So this is actually a photo of the earth. And here is the surface of the moon. This photo was taken in 1978. Do you guys remember the Apollo mission?
Yeah,
When
Armstrong.
they were looking for a place to land on the moon. And so while they were in the spacecraft, one of the astronauts just looked down and saw something dangling in space. So he grabbed his camera and took this photo. And so you see from the spacecraft, he got a little of the moon and then the earth. And this was the very first time that the photo of the earth was ever taken. So when they went back again, they planned it and took this photo. This is one of the most publicized photos. You know, why in secondary school, for those of us who did geography, they will say the earth is spherical, right?
Yeah.
So then, there was this discussion like, the earth is so big that those in the US, they are their own world. Those in China, their own earth. You know, we in Africa. But this further proved that the world is interconnected. You see all the water, right? It goes round, everything goes round, the air, everything moves and go round. And it was after this that the first World Earth Day was ever celebrated. That was when we knew that we all share a common earth. Now, if you look at this photo again, it clearly shows you that you look at the sun, right?
Yes.
And so this is the earth, and this is the up here, the atmosphere. So if you look at it, if you come out outside now and look up, you'll see that it's a very long distance between us and the space, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, the distance is not so long. It's very close. So look at the sunrise and look at the space between the earth and the sun. And the atmosphere, sorry, not the sun now. For the sun is miles away, millions of kilometers. But we're talking about the atmosphere here, where the earth forms. Sorry, you will soon understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Who knows what this is? The sun, right? Good. How about this one? Good. You are a brilliant student. And this one, what can we take this one to be?
Orbit.
The atmosphere. The atmosphere. So my sister here said ozone layer. So now this sometimes confuses a lot of people. Okay? Ozone is a gas. all right?
Yeah.
And it's part of the atmosphere. So the atmosphere is made up of so many gases, okay? So water vapor is part of it. Carbon is part of it. Ozone is also part of it, okay? So it's not enough to say this is ozone layer. So this is the atmosphere. Good. So this is what happens. I want you to understand climate change. Now, when the sun shines, as it's shining now, what happens is that the light waves of the sun passes through where? The atmosphere, and get to us here in the earth. Good. Now, when it gets to the earth, the surface of the earth absorbs some of the heat. If you go outside now, it's hot. The sun is out there, right? If you touch the roof, it's hot. If you touch the car, it's hot, right? The concrete is hot. What are they doing? They are absorbing the heat from the what? From the sun. But it is not all of that heat that stays with us. Okay? Some of that heat goes back into space. Why? If all the heat that comes to us from the sun remains with us, the earth will be too hot. So you see the power, the perfect work that God did to regulate the temperature in the world. This heat enters, right? Some of it stays to warm us up, but many of it is reflected back in space. Where is it reflected back? You see all those ice sheets that you hear about? It's white now. So anything white goes back into space. What are those bodies that absorb this heat? Mostly the ocean, the rivers, the water. And that is why during the daytime, when you go to the water, it's cold, right? Good, it's absorbing. But in the morning, when you go there, what happens? It's warm. It is radiating back that heat. So why is the earth trapping some heat and some heat going back? The reason is that at night, when the sun is not shining, the earth will still be warm. Without the earth absorbing that heat, right? At night, we will be very cold. So you see the perfect design of God, right? Yes. Now, but something is happening. Something is happening now, which is causing climate change. And that is what I want us to talk about. This thing.
Emission.
This thing. Carbon. What does this thing do? How many of us drove to this place today? You entered car, Uber, something. Something was coming out from the exhaust. How many of you use generators in your house? Something was coming out, right? This is the problem. Now, what does this actually do? We said that the atmosphere is made up of gases, right? When they say too much of everything is bad, this is exactly what it is. So, from primary school, you were taught that you breathe in what? And you breathe out carbon dioxide. Good. Now, before the Industrial Revolution, we had forests, we had trees. There was a balance in the earth. You see, the carbon dioxide that you breathe out is the same as this one. The difference is that this one is highly concentrated. Okay, that's why it's called carbon monoxide. And the one you breathe out is carbon dioxide. They are all carbon. And that is why if you lock this room now and turn off the AC and lock ourselves here, after some time, what will happen? Because of the carbon. So let's go back here. Now, the atmosphere is made up of different gases: nitrous oxide, water vapor, and carbon, and some other, and then ozone. So, because the earth now let me not say the earth, have been emitting these gases, which they are called greenhouse gases. These gases are thickening the walls of the atmosphere. Try to understand this now. What are these gases doing? They are thickening the walls of the atmosphere. Can you see how thickening it become? Now, because this wall is now thickened by these gases, that heat that usually will go back into space is not going back. It is trapped. It is with us. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. So that extra heat that should radiate back into space is no longer going back into space. It is trapped in the earth and is with us. So what do you think will happen? What do you think is happening if all the heat that should have been out of this room is not going out and everything is still within this room? What do you think will happen?
Suffocation. It will change.
Suffocation, yeah?
Natural disaster like
Wait, let's not
It
do it.
becomes stuffy and
It will become
Suffocation.
stuffy, yes. I'm looking for one word.
dehydration.
Hot.
Very hot.
Why know you? It will become hot. It will become what? Hot. So the earth, because of this covering, it's called a greenhouse. That's when you hear greenhouse gases. This is what covers that makes the earth, make or cause the world a greenhouse. So we have these greenhouse gases here that are blocking this heat from going back into space, and the earth, the heat is now trapped and is in the world with us. So what's happening in Earth? The world is getting hot. So why is the world getting hot? We'll talk about it just now. All right? So where do greenhouse gases come from?
Automobiles.
We just talked about some of them. You drive, electricity generation, cars, industries, and look at lots of them. Burning, which many of us do. Burn our refuse, right? Even agriculture, fertilization. You know, fertilizers, we use NPK, right? Nitrous oxide is one of the gases. So yes, lot of this, air travel, oil exploration, and all of that. This is where greenhouse gases come from. Of course, some actions produce more greenhouse gases than others. So the greenhouse gases I'm talking about today basically are three. The first one is methane.
Yeah.
How many of you know methane gas? You know it.
Yes, sir.
You know it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. A quick example. How many of you have passed where there's refuse dump?
Dumb, yes.
Refuse dump. You hear that strong smell?
Smell, yes, sir.
That is methane gas, and it's one of the most potent gas that causes climate change. So when you see,
dangerous.
and then it doesn't just come up from the refuse. When the cows poo, yeah,
Yes.
pig poo,
Yes.
poultry poo. That's why you can produce energy from those poos. You can actually produce gas. That gas can be trapped, and you can use it to cook,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
right? So, and this methane gas remains in the earth for like 10 years. Nitrous oxide. Okay. How many of you, when you turn on car in the morning, a very sound car, then you go behind and you see some water dropping? That is nitrous oxide. That thing that is dropping, it remains in the earth for up to 100 years. It doesn't go. And then the worst of the all is carbon. How many times does it remain in the earth?
1,000 years. Over 1,000 years.
Over 1,000 years plus. It doesn't go anywhere. Should I tell you? When the trees absorb them, the trees are remaining, right?
Yes, sir.
When you cut the trees, where the carbon go? Back into the sun. So you see, it remains with us, and this is the main problem. Okay, so now let's understand why the increase in temperature is causing climate change. The science is simple. How many of you remember your hydrologic cycle? Okay. Do you know how rain forms and falls?
Yes, sir.
Something must happen before rain forms.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There is, when you wash your clothes and keep outside here, what will happen? Evaporation. Good. Now, because the earth is warmer, what happens? The rate of evaporation is higher. And because the earth is warmer, the ice in the Antarctica and the polar regions are melting. So when you hear sea level rise, that is what is causing sea level rise, right? So, as the earth is warming up, temperature increases, the rate of evaporation increases. That's why even in Abuja, heavy rainfall, boom, few minutes, everywhere is dry. Are we together? Yes. And it's not just happening here alone, it's everywhere. So where does this water go? Back to the atmosphere. And when it goes up, what will happen? It must come down. It will condense and it will come back. Good, you are getting it quite well. So, evaporation, precipitation, and then the cycle continues. So now, this is what happens. Because of the extra heat, evaporation is faster and it is causing more downpours because they have more water up there and it must come down. So when it comes down, what happens? Rainfall. Not just rainfall. Flood. Yes. You are following. Now, look at the satellite image. See, can you see the volume of water in space? Yes. Lot of water in space. Then somebody will ask, why do we have lots of water in space and then in some places rain is not falling? So the answer is simple. You have also answered it just now. The process of rain formation. There is evaporation. There is something before the rainfall. Who knows it? No.
Condensation.
Condensation. Oh, today I didn't prepare. I usually give prizes to my students. Thank you very much. Condensation. Condensation is a process of cooling. Right? So there is cooling and then the rain now drops. But because of the increase in temperature, that cooling no longer takes place on time. So the atmosphere has the ability to hold water for a long time. So rain that should fall in 1 month can fall in just 1 day. Because it takes longer for the cooling to take place. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
All right. So just imagine this falling on a city. This is exactly what's happening. It's just like a bathtub. You know, you have a lot of water in it, and then you just open one small the drain, and then you see all the water dropping all at once. This is exactly what climate change is causing. So, this is very common in Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Even in Abuja here.
Instead of reading just
No.
yeah, just yeah. These are people who know in the area. They do things. They do anyhow, trash anyhow. And water no they carry cow. He passed without, he passed in power.
That way pass out. Where the cow?
Shy. Better for the machine, make it go in their life. May they even go.
Where will you see this?
So, why is it causing drought in some places? It is also very simple. Just like evaporation takes place on the water, it also takes place on the land as well. So it takes all the moisture from the soil to where?
The atmosphere.
So you have situations like this. This is increasing by the day. I'm sure in some part, early this year, just last month, the governor of Bauchi State organized prayers and fasting for rain. And then when the rain started, they are now praying and fasting again because flooding has come. And all of these have implications on so many things. Food security. How many of us like suya? And so if the aboki increases the price, don't complain.
Suya.
But that is what is
As
going on.
Kenyan would call
Now,
it.
this is a farm here in Abuja. This was like 3 years ago in Kuje. So this guy planted around March. You know those early rainfall, right? And then the thing was growing and he was happy. And then it
All of
got
a
to
sudden,
May, no rain. From April, no rain. May, no rain. June, no rain. Just like this year, you saw that the rain came around July.
yeah.
And so he lost everything. And this is not just here in
And even is
Nigeria
what
as
they
well.
watch this year.
It is all across the world. I have to reduce this so that we'll go into the second part of the training. So let's look at the real cost of carbon. I want us to read it together. The real cost of carbon. That is the real cost of greenhouse emissions. Don't worry, I will leave this presentation. I'm sure it will be shared to all of you. So let's read it together. 1, 2, go.
Political instability, floods and mudslides, wildfires, drought, storm damage, ocean acidification.
Okay, let me just quickly explain this one. Ocean acidification. Okay. Now, you hear that the ocean is getting acidified. What does this simply mean? Most of the emissions that you have, the carbon, many of it goes into the ocean. Okay? The ocean absorbs it. So, if you have so much carbon in the water, just those of you who have small background of chemistry, mathematics, H2O, that's water, right? Yes. Plus CO2. What will it give you? It will give you an acid. That is exactly what is causing. So the more you have. Thank you. Ogo, you have wonderful students here. Thank you. should we change?
H2CO3.
So okay, let's come back. Are you tired?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you. So let's go on. Want to go? Infrastructure,
climate refugees, species extinction, melting glaciers, famine, water scarcity, ecosystem loss, our way of life, infectious disease, sea level rise.
Okay, let's take these two. Our way of life. Our way of life and infectious diseases. So now we agree that the world is getting hotter, right?
Yes.
So you before now, the way you would dress to go out, will you still dress that way when the weather is so hot? No. So it's gradually changing our way of life and even the kind of food we eat as well, because our bodies and our systems need to adapt to the new situation we are facing. So, infectious disease. You know that when the weather is hot, that is when mosquitoes breed more, right?
Yeah.
You agree, right?
Yes.
What do you have? Malaria. Apart from malaria, a lot of bacteria. It is when the temperature is very high. That's when their eggs even begin to hatch. So you have more of infectious diseases with climate change, with global warming. I like to call it it is actually global warming that is causing climate change. So let's go into the next phase of this presentation. Let me not bore you with this one. You have the presentation. But globally, let's also just say that for us, majorly climate change affects food supply,
Yes, sir.
right? Water and global health. For food, a lot of things. When floods come, it washes away the farms, right?
Yes, sir.
When there is drought, it dries up and our people cannot farm. Diseases. Pests. How many of you heard about that invasion of pests in which countries?
Kenya, Uganda.
Kenya, Uganda, yes. Locusts. They just came, ate up everything, anything green that they can see. To the extent that the cows were not seeing small to even eat. Those guys are terrible. And then wildfires and the rest of them. Okay, let's move so that we can have a discussion. How about our health? If you don't have food, will you have good health?
No.
way. Air pollution,
That's the worst of it.
the worst of all. How about heat stress? Do you remember that during that period when the weather is so hot?
March.
That is heat stress. Some of us get angry that time unnecessary. You even sleep in the house. I have a photo that I usually share. I have to reduce it. Of people who were sleeping inside the fridge. They just open the fridge and push their head. And then somebody puts, like a small drum, just enter inside and put his pillow just to sleep. Right? So heat stress leads to mental health.
Yes.
These are things we don't really talk about, but they are happening.
Yeah.
And they are on the rise as a result of climate change. If you have drought, will you have water?
No.
If you have flood, will your water be clean?
No.
And of course, infectious diseases. So we have a big problem on our hands. A very, very big problem on our hands. Yeah. So the solution to climate change are basically two things, which is either we mitigate this problem or we learn to
Adaptation.
adapt. We have have to learn to adapt, but we must
And adaptation is the way.
this problem. So I usually explain this using the mosquito. If you have a mosquito biting you, what are the 2 ways you can stop the mosquito?
Anti-malaria.
Mosquito net.
Mosquito net. Mosquito net. So you are now adapting by using what? Mosquito net. Apart from mosquito net, what else can you do? Insecticide. But that's a temporary measure. If
Yeah.
you spray it today, tomorrow it will come.
Yes.
Clean environment. So you are adapting. But to mitigate mosquito, pata, what do we do? There's something happening now. Vaccination.
Yeah. They are
Oh, you
developing.
are not aware.
It's under production.
You reading over
They are
here?
developing.
There's vaccination that will stop malaria. So mosquito can bite you and nothing will happen. Yes, it's even being tested now. The testing is ongoing.
Yeah.
So be on the watch out. Huh? But that does not mean you should be breeding mosquitoes. So we know the cause of this problem of climate change. And the cause is simple. Greenhouse gas emissions. So how can we stop greenhouse gas emissions?
Building more trees to absorb carbon.
More trees to absorb the carbon. But the problem we have now is just so much. Okay, let's just go on. What can you do? I want you to start thinking in your head at the moment. What can you do? Okay? Let me stop and open the floor for any question. Quickly, then I can continue the second phase. What can you do? I know that's what most of you are waiting for. Yes?
The use of vehicles should be reduced.
Yeah?
What can you do?
Yeah?
Say, what can you do?
Yeah?
I am planting trees
Okay.
and I advertise modern charcoal stove use because it uses less charcoal and easily fabricated. And instead of using a bag of charcoal for majorly rural area, you can use water. The use of that modern charcoal stove.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let me just respond to her about charcoal. The use of firewood is even better than charcoal.
Yeah.
You know
Charcoal is
why?
dangerous.
For you to produce charcoal, you must cut down the entire tree. But for firewood, you can cut branches. And firewood is destroying our forests completely. In Nigeria at the moment, we have just, in fact, 90% of our forest is gone. We have just very small one in Cross River State, which they are still destroying now. Okay, we'll talk about that soon, okay? So first, you need to speak out. Speak out for climate and environmental justice. So this can become somebody's job. You're a climate advocate. We have so many climate
My friend
advocates
is
around
in
the
Kenya
world.
now. No, South
The young
Africa.
girl, Greta Thunberg from Sweden, she has become a global icon. She's speaking out. What did she do? She just said, if you don't take climate action, I will not go to school again. Then she started the climate strike movement. And today, she's even the one giving grants to other young people by speaking out. Speaking out. Right? That's one. So I have also tried to speak out too, in my own small way. We need to speak out. We're talking about trees. So who can explain to me what is happening here? Look at us closely.
The shade that's protecting them from the sun is what they are about to cut.
Cause. And this is what all of us are doing. Now let's go back to primary school. What are the importance of trees? I want answers.
They act as
Just give me one.
they
Yes.
act as
Shades.
windbreakers.
Windbreakers. Who know what windbreakers is?
Yeah.
Who is from the north?
As it sounds.
Who is from the north? Where in the north are you, sir? Gombe State. Gombe is not even the real north. When you go to all those artists, when you hear wind coming, you will think the world is coming to an end.
Yes, sir.
So they need wind breaks. Those ones help to reduce. Yes, sir. You want to answer?
They stand as ranging poles to erosion.
Right. Okay. Yes. They prevent erosion. Yes. We have gotten two. Yes, sir.
They produce oxygen for human.
Good, a very good answer. They produce oxygen. Yes, sir. At the back people. What do trees do for you, please? Doesn't like sun, so the trees serve as shade. Yes. What else? This. Yes.
For wood and paper.
For wood and paper. So the one. Yes. Yes.
Okay, they provide food for us.
Food. This man likes food. Yes. They provide food. Yes, sir.
They maintain a balance in the ecosystem.
How?
In terms of the atmosphere being cooler, that is in terms of the air, the ventilation in the atmosphere.
Carbon sequestration. Carbon, they absorb carbon, right? And give us back fresh oxygen. Yes, sir.
They provide habitat for the wild reserve.
This is the best answer I've been waiting for. Please give me one round of applause. So when you cut down trees, you think you are just cutting down trees. You are destroying the 5-star hotel of other animals. You don't think about them. How about those birds that come around your house singing every morning? You know, those lizards, this is their home. And when we say an ecosystem, biodiversity, we need every life is important. Thank you for that answer. Any other one? One last answer, yes.
You beautify the environment.
Beautify the environment, yes. One last very good one again I'm expecting from you. Sorry? Purifies the air, yes.
Community gathering, storytelling.
Good. Same as shade, yes. Prevent erosion, yes. If I tell you that one, you will pay me.
Like they make use of it for maybe use of drugs that people use.
Correct. Give her a round of applause. That's the last one. For medicine. Right. You think she's Babalawo? She's not Babalawo. Thank you. That's a very brilliant answer. A lot of the medicines that you buy in pharmacies come from trees. Agbo. My friend, you take agbo, but the one they have kaika inside. Okay. So let's move now. You need to choose a career path, and one way to choose a career path in the space of environment. Don't think far, just look around the Sustainable Development Goals. You know the Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes.
You know them, right? Yes. So I don't need to dwell on them. Just think about which one you care about, which one appeals to you. Okay? Then you build your capacity. So let me just tell you my own little journey. So I'm a trained engineer. I started off as a civil engineer, practicing building and making some money. And when solar came in, I wanted to be among the first people in Nigeria that will sell solar system. And I needed to understand it. So I went to do a master's abroad in renewable energy. And that is where I got arrested. Into climate change. Because when you're discussing renewable energy, you are talking of sustainability.
Yes.
So it was no longer about profit making. It was about how you can make the world
A better place.
So that was where my orientation changed. But I didn't stop there. I started developing myself, building capacity. So I connected with former US Vice President Al Gore. Many of you know him, right? You hear about him through the Climate Reality Project. So over 10 years ago, he trained me on climate change presentations. And that was where I started from. And then I started volunteering with different organizations. So by the time I got back, I volunteered for the UNDP. And from there, I started my NGO called GSEP. GSEP. GSEP means the Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation. I love food, and I'm so worried that climate change is impacting food. So that gets me worried, right? So producing food, but also protecting the ecosystem. So that is what my organization does, right? Joseph, you'll see, don't worry. Now, there's a chance for those of you who can afford it. There's a climate reality training in November taking place in Ghana. And Vice President Al Gore will come. I'm also scheduled to be a speaker at the training. It's 3 days, it's in Ghana. We wanted that training to be in Nigeria, but for security reasons, they decided. We have lost so many things. I don't want to talk. I don't want us to go to that area. It's one area that I don't like to talk about. Because for those of us who relate with people internationally, this is a very big challenge to us. Yeah, a lot of things that should come to the country, they will move it to Ghana or Kenya or South Africa
or Rwanda.
You know, or Rwanda lately, yes. So unfortunately, that training is taking place in Ghana. We have the highest number of climate reality leaders in Africa. That's for sure. But when we've been discussing this for the past 3 years, but the US embassy will not give them the go-ahead to hold the training in Nigeria. So they are now holding it in Ghana. But their target is Nigeria. How much? It's free. It is how you get there. Go by a car. So check it. Climate reality training Accra.
It was 25,000 before.
You give
True and full,
you get
50
a deeper understanding.
Before.
Okay?
Before.
It's part of capacity
To go
building.
now.
So you are also here building your capacity. So you need to build capacity. For anything you want to build, you must build capacity. Alright, let's go ahead. So capacity in what area? These are 3 major areas: sustainability, conservation, and management. So a course these days, sustainable development goals. Sustainable development is a course on its own. Those who are studying master's degree programs, you want to study, look for scholarship, sustainable development. And Chevening scholarship for this year is closed already, right?
No, it's on.
Is it on, eh?
It's just on 2 weeks.
Go ahead and try. Keep trying. You need that capacity, okay? Conservation and of course management. So I know that these 3 classes of people are in this hall. There are people who are managers, some people who are conservationists, and some people who are in between, right? So let's go now. Let's start with the first one. Oh, sorry, because of this is renewable energy. Renewable energy. This is my constituency. Renewable energy. So she said that for us to stop climate change, we must stop driving cars, right? Yes. So now there are electric cars. Yeah. You go to countries like the Netherlands. Even in Nigeria, there are few electric cars. It's very expensive. You want to buy a Tesla, that's very expensive. Yeah. But yes, you can reduce your carbon footprint by reducing the number of times you enter the vehicle. You can take a walk. I know for Nigeria we'll consider security first. But imagine some of you coming here this morning and you are coming from the same area. This one is driving, this one is driving, everybody is driving. How many cars? Or you are all taking Uber. you know. So we need to reduce. So that's the solution to climate change. We must stop, reduce the use of emission of greenhouse gases. So we say reduce your carbon footprint. What are those things you do that emit more carbon? Okay, you have to reduce them. So there's an opportunity here. You can become a renewable energy engineer, you can become a technician, or you can become a marketer. Right? With the removal of fuel subsidy, you know the number of people who have bought solar panels and solar systems, right? That business is booming. So don't be left out. Think deeply. Okay? Alright. I'm sure this our friend is better than some of you here who use
Ethiopian man.
generators to charge your phones.
This is Benue.
So, the other area that are available and is even within us, waste recycling. Sorry, this didn't show, but this is waste recycling. Waste recycling. There is an organization here in Abuja that just won £700,000.
Wow.
Change it that. That's the name of the company. Change that. You know them, right?
Yeah.
They just got £700,000 to improve their business of waste recycling. They are somewhere around Area 1, and you have some other small. You know, what can you do? Eco Bata, you know, of course, you know many of these guys. Is anyone here with a background in GIS? No. Okay. So in fact, I attended a program just 2 weeks ago where we're looking at artificial intelligence in solving climate change. This is a total new area. And it was IBM and Google, the CEO of Google, were there and they told us what they were doing, and it's amazing. Right? So these are areas that are very new. Carbon accounting. Do we have accountants in this house? Accountants. Okay. This is another area that is coming up very, very strong. So when we say carbon accounting, we are looking at, in Nigeria, how much emissions does Nigeria produce? You need someone to calculate that for you. Not just Nigeria, the rest of the world. So these are key areas. I know a lot of us in project management. Everybody, project management, let me see. We are many. So, but of course, there is a lot of opportunities in project management. And by that, I'm talking about the project manager, the finance officer, the monitoring and evaluation officer, and the rest. What are those projects? You have a lot of maybe renewable energy, recycling, dam construction, and all of those. There is one guy who graduated from the University of Abuja. Do we have any University of Abuja graduates here? No. So this guy went into air quality monitoring. He was able to invest in just small gadgets, right? You have some gadget that once I bring here and keep, it will tell us the amount of carbon that is in this room, if it's safe for us to be here. You can check this out and learn how to use it. This guy is, in fact, anything air quality in Nigeria is #1. He doesn't even have time. He has equipment you rent. I wanted to rent some of his equipment. A day is 30,000. And it's just something you put in your pocket. So there are a lot of opportunities. Agriculture. How many people are farmers? How many people eat? How many people care about food? Yeah, everyone. So because climate change is impacting how crops are grown, how food is grown, we have to be climate smart with our agriculture, right? So this area is still very new. What are those innovative ideas that you can come up with? We're talking of irrigation,
Hydroponic.
we're talking of hydroponics,
Aquaponic.
improved seedlings and all. We just say these things, but the opportunity is very big. So these are areas you may want to look into. I'm sorry, this is EIA. For every construction, every project that is undertaken in this country, there is EIA. Who knows what EIA means?
Environmental impact assessment.
Environmental impact assessment. So imagine all the projects done in Nigeria. Although sometimes they bypass the process, you know the Nigerian factor sometimes.
Yeah.
But this is a very big opportunity. Environmental audits, environmental safety professional. A lot of people are doing this. The oil companies, these are the places to go. Environmental safety. They don't joke with it too, and they are very well paid. Environmental health is another area in case your thinking of your background is health. And of course, environmental management and engineering. You can even become a teacher or a lecturer. You don't want to teach.
I want.
Yeah, so I was talking about carbon markets. This one is the sweetest of all. So these days you'll be hearing carbon credit, carbon trade, carbon tax. It's a virgin area. We don't even have professionals in Nigeria yet in this area. But this is what they are pushing now. So carbon credits, let's take carbon credit for example. The communities in Cross River, around Boki area where there is forest, right? Now, if those communities don't destroy their forest, and we are able to calculate the number of trees they have within that community, right? And then we calculate how much carbon those trees absorb. They are paid. That's what's called carbon credit. Okay? They are paid, can be monthly, can be yearly, for protecting the forest. It's not just for trees. For my sister, who is doing something on renewable energy stove as well. If it is calculated and we know that this is her project, this is the amount of carbon she's saving, she can be paid. That's carbon credit, right? So this is a very virgin area where it's not very well explored yet in Nigeria. And of course, environmental engineering. I'm still a student myself, right? I'm studying environmental management at PhD level. So capacity does not stop. You need to keep developing yourself. And don't look at the barriers. That's why we say, do what? Think big. Start small, think big. I'm rounding up now. And stop smiling in the dark. This is what most of you do. You do very brilliant work, but you don't share, you don't showcase it.
I'm a victim myself. Just
So
now that I'm
this-
sharing.
Make up your mind today to brand yourself. Make up your mind today to brand yourself and start sharing and telling stories about what you do. The work that some of us do here in Nigeria is more than what these our friends in Kenya and all these places do. But because they position themselves that way, any little thing that comes. Okay, pick up your phones. Pick up your phones. Go to Uncle Google. Are you there?
Yes.
Type your name, your full name, and search.
Yeah, my name is a type search. He will give you some articles about me.
Go ahead, type your name in full, your official name, type it and search. Oh my
Mine you
God.
type, you pop up, give you
Who
some
has gotten
articles.
something?
I know mine. I know mine.
Wait. What did you get?
My LinkedIn account.
Oh, okay. What else?
Yes.
Facebook.
My articles.
Articles.
Yeah, on Blueprint newspaper.
Bring articles on Blueprint.
Yes.
Good.
My LinkedIn account.
LinkedIn.
My articles on Metropolitan newspaper, my article on African Examiner, my article on Independence.
Okay, don't do. Yes. What else? Who else? Yes. What did you say?
My book on Amazon.
Your book on Amazon. You sell on Amazon, eh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. Yes.
A proposed bill at the Model Legislative Assembly.
Oh, that's good. Yes, sir. What did you get?
My LinkedIn account.
Your LinkedIn account. Did you get something? LinkedIn, Facebook. Who got Facebook? Let me see your hand. Facebook. So now, that is your digital footprint. Where you work more is on Facebook. That's why Facebook is the first to pop out. So they do more of writing, and that's why when you check them, you can easily see their work. So if you are looking for employment, sometimes we are asked to evaluate people, even proposals. The first thing we do is we just check you out.
Social media.
Just go to Google and check who this person is. And then sometimes our young ladies in particular are victims of this. All those things you do on Instagram and
Facebook
disqualify you without you knowing.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, for sure. That's the truth.
So please increase your digital footprint. It's not everything you post online. Try. What even if you delete it, it's still there.
You come even.
Even if you delete it, it's still there. So please, okay? That's why we say stop smiling in the dark. And then let's read this together. The world is looking for change makers, especially Africa. Before independence, we had leaders like Nnamdi Azikiwe, we had leaders like the former Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana. That time of independence is gone. We are now in a new era. Africa is looking for leaders like you. Can you be that leader?
Yes, sir.
Can you be that leader?
Yes, sir.
Let's stay in touch. Thank you so much. Yes. So based on the program, we have a few minutes for questions, right?
So you have opportunity for questions. Please coordinate in my choice.